1. 50 gallons for 1 gallon. What am I talking about? Syrup. Today, I'm going to talk about how to make syrup and the process to getting there. I'm going to talk about what trees and how to identify them. I'm going to talk about how to tap a tree, the one after you choose which one you want to use, and we'll talk about how to boil down the sap to make the syrup. So the first thing that I want to talk about is how to choose a tree. As you know, maple syrup comes from maple trees. There are different types of maple trees though. The first type is the sugar maple, and it's the most sugary sap. There's also another type called the black maple, which is very, very similar to the sugary maple and is often confused with it. With my experience, my grandpa and I, we started this 2 years ago. We use sugar maples, and we tap about 20 to 25 a year. The next one is the red maple. It's less sugary. And the last one is a box elder. It's a type of maple tree, and it is the least sugary. So if you don't want very sugary syrup, you can use the box elder. Next thing I'm going to talk about is how to tap a tree. So I brought in, this is actually a hickory, but I didn't have any maples cut, so I just grabbed a hickory. So the first thing you want to do is pick your tree. Sorry. So according to Michael Snyder, he is a writer for an outdoors website. He has found that it's best to tap the tree when it's freezing at night and thawing in the morning. That makes the sap run better out of the tree when it's like thawing out, so then it's like melting out of the tree, basically. So you have a tree right here. And I actually pre-tapped this because I don't want to bring the drill, and I just made a mess. The drill bit because it would be messier, but I just made a mess. So the best, in our experience, the best way to do it is to hold the drill upward at about a 35, 40 angle, and then drill up. That'll help the sap kind of, that way it's like an angle when you put your tap in. This is what a tap looks like. We ordered these, you can find them on Amazon, just by the way. And you put it in the hole. There's my hole, right there. And you put it through there, and you make sure it's tight so it doesn't fall out. And then you connect it to a bucket. These are the buckets we use. And you stick it through the hole. Like so. And then we have our buckets like down here on the ground so that the sap will just flow down into the bucket. Because if you have it, we usually tape ours on there, and I didn't bring tape. So, but you have it, because if it's up here, it's not going to flow down in the bucket, obviously. So we have it down here. So, also when you're tapping, you want to have some key things in mind. One is you want to tap it on the south side of the tree. Then, after that, you want to make sure it's above a big root. Because above the big root is where the sap kind of, call them veins of the tree. They're not really veins, but like we have blood veins, so you want to hit a vein when you get your blood drawn. Like trees, you want to hit like a sap vein kind of thing. And like when you go up the big root, there's more sap there, so you tap it there. Also, you want to make sure that your tree is big enough to be able to have a substantial amount of sap in it. Also, you want to make sure that your tree's not going to fall or break or kind of do, because you are doing this in winter, so you don't want it to be like really small and then it freeze and then none of it thaw because it's just so small. So, after you have it tapped, make sure you don't forget to collect it because that would be bad. We usually collect it 1 to 2 times a day, morning and night, sometimes in the middle depending on how big the tree is. So different trees will have different sap flow, so you want to make sure that you have plenty of time to get this. So this bucket here we would check 2 to 3 times a day, and the 5-gallon buckets we'll check like once a day, if that. So then, after you have that, you want to put it into a strainer. This is the boiling process. To get it in the strainer, because sometimes you have ants and bugs in it, and you don't want those in your syrup. That'd be gross. So you strain it, and then you put it in a boiler. So you have 2 pans. Well, we have 2 pans, different ways to do it. You have one pan where you have the syrup in it, the sap in it, and then as it boils down, you transfer it into another one, so it boils down even more into the syrup. Then, after you have it all boiled down, which usually takes an all-day process, that's where the 50 gallons of sap, you have 1 gallon of syrup, so it takes forever to make. So this bucket right here will make about this much syrup in that bottle. Like it's not very much. So then, you boil it down, and then you can put it in a bottle. We have our own little labels, Wagner Farms. So, as I close, I want you to remember that trying new things aren't bad and that it can lead to new hobbies, such as my grandpa's life.